How's it going? So it's been a while since the last time I posted any videos. I just have been out. It's let's see, it's April 6th, Saturday. I have gone out probably like 2 or 3 other times in the Bay, San Francisco Bay. Haven't really gotten much. And then last week I got a 24.5 inch halibut, and that was, I think, around like 6 or 7 pounds. And then I got a couple stripers, one that was probably just about a keeper, and then another one that was like 22 inches. And so I figured I'll probably actually start to get some actual footage of me catching fish and not just pedaling around the bay all day. Last week was also a bit windy too, so it would have made it tough to have any kind of audio without it being completely blown out. Today should be nice. Obviously you can kind of see the clouds are all gone, not expecting any rain. Winds, I think up to like 6 or 7 miles per hour. So not much at all. Water clarity is pretty good. The rains have all but started to taper off. We got some rain on Friday, Thursday, and so it wasn't much, so it didn't really get the water all muddy. Right now we got an incoming tide, so the water's coming over from the Bay Bridge out that direction. I think I got another 3 hours maybe of incoming tide, and then it'll start going out again. So the further I go out, I'm hoping the water gets even clearer. The fish that I caught last week were all down at the very far end of the rock wall. I usually say from the launch ramp is the start of the rock wall, because it's like the base of where the rock wall connects to shore, and then it goes out. There's one break in the rock wall, like maybe 2/3 of the way down, and then the rock wall continues further down, and then that's where I say, like, for me, that's what I call the end of the rock wall, the very end. So usually if I say where I'm catching my fish and it relates to the rock wall, it's most likely going to be either at the break of the rock wall or at the end of the rock wall. So yeah, last weekend was Easter weekend, and that Saturday, because because it was windy, and 2, I think there was like a storm to the South Bay, so it was like kept people at home. So there was like maybe 1 or 2 other kayakers slash boaters even fishing in the bay last weekend. Today people got out of bed and the parking lot was almost like halfway full, which was probably like 10 times as many people out today as there was last week. So it's going to start getting busy. It means that if you're not out here like prior to first light, which is like right before the sun rises, you're probably gonna have a tough time finding a parking spot. We got Southwest going. Fish on. Feels like a striper maybe. Yeah, it feels like a striper. It's coming up to the surface. Oh, it's way back there. Oh yeah, it's gotta be a striper. I think I got it at the top of the head, yeah. And he's fine, good. It's a good striper. But we're after halibut. We're gonna let that guy go. And I'm gonna deal with getting my hook out of this net. And perfect. That was easy. I was hoping the tide was gonna push me a little further back so that way I could like get back over where I hooked that fish. So I'm gonna go back just a little bit. Always check your line. And you're not. Good. This hook is a little bent out. So I'm gonna straighten that up a little bit. Okay, hooks look good. Right, this is a pretty good spot. Yeah, I was showing on the fish finder, I saw a very clear line of a fish that was off to my right hand side. It looked like not too far off to the right, so who knows if that was the fish that I saw on the meter. But this is where I got those stripers and the one halibut last week, so I was kind of figuring this is I picked up my pace on heading over here. Ideally, I've found that going like under 2 miles an hour is what I prefer to troll at. So like 1.5 mile an hour is kind of ideal. Cool. So I got my line out a good ways back. Always got to look for the rod vibrating. That means your lure is swimming right. Sometimes with these lures, they'll be swimming right, and then all of a sudden you'll know that the rod loses that vibration and it just goes straight, and then it picks it back up again. And what it is sometimes these lures aren't really built well. They're on the cheaper side, and so they'll be swimming and then they'll turn to the side, and then they'll kind of like do a flip because either the bill or like the shape of the lure is just slightly off, and so it does a spin and then it gets back on track. But you don't really want that, because then it causes twists in your line. It's like, that's not what you're going for. So something to look out for. Other times you'll be seeing the vibration and it'll like get pulled a little bit and then just like stay pulled back with a bend in the rod without any vibration, and that usually means you got like grass or something on your hooks, like some floating kelp or something. So at that point you got to either like try and jerk the rod to rip the weeds off the hooks, or just reel up and clean the lure off and get it back out there. And then obviously for a fish, what you saw is it just like pulling the rod back multiple times usually. So, oh, good fish. I don't know if you could tell from the fish finder, but right there, that's where the fish is. Feels like a halibut. Get this ready in case I'm right. It's a good fish. Oh yeah, it is a halibut, and it's good size. It is definitely a keeper. Take it nice and slow. I'm gonna put this in reverse so I can get this fish to swim alongside. Be a little bit more. Oh, got it. Whew. Hook right there in the corner of the mouth. Get this. Fish on a stringer. Put the gaff away. Oh, the hook came out. Cool. So, take this. Let's get it completely out of the way. So yeah, that was on the swim bait. 3/4 ounce weight and a treble hook. And a 4 3/4 inch. Oh, look, it spit some regurgitated, whatever that is. Maybe it's just a digested anchovy. All right, let's measure it. It looks like it's plenty over the 22-inch size limit. Mouth closed. Yeah. 28 inches. Right on the line. Nice. That's a good fish. Much better than the 24.5-inch one I caught last week. All right, so I'm gonna put it out of its misery and then get it in the fish bag in the back. Cool. Still on there.
Don't bait them up, guys. Just gonna take a look real quick there before we take this off.
Oh, it is still on there. Must be a halibut. Just came straight in. Oh, it's a little one. Monsters. Ooh, ah.
So they're already not vegan.
Big old charter boat.
Do in fact have vegan butter. Thank you for reminding me.
It's the only charter boat I've seen today. Lately, or the past couple years, the charter boats that come in here, maybe like 3 or 4 of those giant boats with like 15, 20 plus people on it. And then what they do is they just like have everybody with like a standard, like they set everybody up with like a standard rig of like an anchovy, and then they just drift along the bottom, and it's just like 15, 20 lines in the water just sweeping across the bottom and picking up any fish that they come over. So kind of a good to stay away from those guys. It just makes it tough. But yeah, that was fish number 3. So I got one striper that was probably in the low 20 inches, like probably like 22, 23. And then that one big halibut, 28 inches. And that small one, which was probably, my guess is like 10, 11, maybe 12 inches. Didn't really need to measure it. But I think I did see it on the fish finder. Which is pretty cool. Had to take off a bunch of layers. I took off 2 jackets, a long sleeve shirt, my boots and socks, and the pants I was wearing. So now I'm just wearing my like boot cut long johns. And then I either got to figure out if I'm gonna put the pants back on or if I need to put sunscreen on my legs and feet. But with the tide going as hard as it is, I gotta make sure I get a little further up, and then that way when I go to put sunscreen on and on my legs and feet, that I'm not drifted way back out towards the bridge by the time I'm done. So